Greetings. Nearly all Christian churches and organizations have well-developed curricula and study materials for use with kindergartners all the way up to the old people among us. Now, we know how to rate autos with measuring tools, time trials on a track, with safety tests, and so forth. But how do we rate the effectiveness of our Christian education materials? Can we even do so? This is the Practicing Christian. This week's report is entitled Testing 1, 2, 3. Some years ago, I was en route to address a conference of Christian educators, writers, planners, teachers, and so forth. We were held up at an airport by a delayed flight. Sitting together and chatting, I thought to ask them a question. Do you or any people you know have some means of testing the effectiveness of the materials and processes you design? Close quote. They told me about the trials that all new materials went through in real-life classes, and I said, that sounds good. But do you have a way to measure the effectiveness of what you're doing, say, 5, 10, 20 years downstream? The discussion was lively on this, but I wanted to know if the children using a given curriculum had a lower or higher divorce rates, more productive, not just money-making, jobs, took more of a hand in rearing their own children as Christians, and so forth. By the time they got us on the last leg of our flight, the answer was essentially, we don't test for that, and we don't know of anyone who does. Going around the edges of these questions, we know, for example, that it's been shown in recent studies published by Academia Press, religiously involved students spend more time on their homework, work harder in school, and achieve more as a result. But when a group of 1,000 young adults were quizzed on their Christian education in Sunday schools, 2 summary question and answers were, do you feel good people don't need to go to church? 39.3% of the Sunday school attenders said yes. Only 28% of non-attenders said yes. As regular Sunday school attenders thought that church was not that important for non-believers. Well, let's see. When asked, do you feel the church is relevant to your needs today, 46.4% of the Sunday schoolers said no. Surprisingly, only 39.6% of those who did not attend Sunday school felt the church is not relevant to them today. Now, scores on creation beliefs showed both groups to be roughly similar to one another. Almost equal numbers in both groups were found to believe themselves destined for heaven. Taught but not caught was the catchphrase, the conclusion of one analyst. In other words, the Sunday school program, in general, doesn't work poorly. It often is completely counterproductive, losing people rather than holding or gaining them, and apparently not influencing behaviors much either. For example, 46% of the unschooled thought premarital sex was a poor idea. Only 40% of the Sunday school attenders did. Moving away from Sunday schools, we understand that our children learn that church is an enjoyable, safe place. They develop relationships with other trusted Christian adults. They also connect with other young Christians. They learn from others' creativity and perspectives, not just from their parents. Their parents also build relationships that can provide resources for helping minister to our children at home. Such experiences reinforce lessons they learn at home. The church thus provides a safe place for them to practice having faith discussions outside of the home. As they mature, the church also provides a safe place for older children, teens, and adults to express their gifts and serve God and His people. None of what is in the above paragraph, which I just read, relates specifically to Sunday school. It's about church. Most of it specifically does not. When Sunday school teachings are quite exact, discussion often, for example, is not possible. What it does suggest is that small groups, for example, all the children born in a given year, can form a little clan, we'll call it, that stays together throughout the years, mostly in Sundays, but meeting outside of Sundays as well, not directed by a fixed text-using teacher, and who are continually involving themselves and being involved in life with others, such as church committees, parental and other groups. For example, in 1 month, they might observe and learn what ushers are, how to be one, and then practice doing it. Then perhaps their group could send delegates to the church budget committee to discuss what other groups need, and perhaps how they themselves, these kids, can help in raising that budget. And in another month, writing prayers and putting together their own small prayer book for use by one another. Not learning what's in a text, but learning how to be disciples and be Christians with one another. This would work differently than sitting in a group that has a Sunday-to-Sunday absentee rate of perhaps 40%. Sunday school is pretty bad on this. And these groups are often completely directed by what the text is about, and which doesn't teach them how to be Christians together. Unfortunately, there are few churches that I know of following this group pattern, nor are any such groups measuring their long-term effectiveness. If our children's Christian education did take such a form, it might well allow them to add some strong items to their list of non-school achievements in their community as they fill out their college applications. Okay, back to rating long-term effectiveness of Christian education programs. I've not been able to find any effective system that's done this. But my observation and my limited research tell me that there are two major areas where parents and the students themselves seem to focus their energies. One of these is biblical knowledge. The other is living as a disciple of Jesus in harmony with other disciples of his. Some Sunday schooling seems to help both of these. If the children attend irregularly, however, which unfortunately is the case, they do. Seriously. The benefits of these can easily be lost. Parents may wish to see what their own church is doing with respect to this, that is, bad attendance, and what their children may be most interested in. A large enough church may be able to hold standard Sunday school class as well as have these small groups. Or to combat poor attendance, team or class camping weeks to give an intense exposure to what you may want your children to grow up with. For centuries, schools and the Western world were Christian in all respects, even down to American public schools into the late 1800s. The Sunday school, as a teacher of religion alone, is an attempt to make up for this lack in our secular schools. It may not be working as well as Christian schools are. Serve then, be the king's right arm.